Hello, welcome back to another video. In today's video, I'm going for another wild camp. This time, I'm starting off at the Meldon Reservoir. I'm going to walk around the edge of the reservoir, head up the East Oakmont Valley, and hopefully find a nice spot next to the river where I can pitch up for the evening. As you can see, I'm now making my way around the edge of the reservoir. There's some really nice views to be had here, especially looking back out across the water. As you may also be able to see, it is quite windy. There were pretty high winds forecast for this evening, which in a way it's a good thing because this was a camp that I thought I'd do just to see where I stand when it comes to colder temperatures and wind, things like that as well. So you can put the gear to the test a little bit tonight and see if there's any areas that maybe we need to upgrade heading into winter, or if in fact maybe we should be alright to get away with a little bit of winter camping as well. So I'm just approaching my contingency plan here. So there's this big meadow just down here where you have to cross a really small footbridge to get onto it. On Google Maps, this looked like a great place to camp, and although it was a bit close to the start of the route, I thought maybe if I can't find a spot further up the river and have to head back and I'm a bit pushed for time as it's going to be getting dark, this could be a really good place to pitch up. However, once I got onto the grass here, it turns out it was really wet. It was just waterlogged and squelchy. And there were also a lot of cows down the far end of the meadow, which the camera's not really picking up, but there were a lot of them. I've now walked up the hill away from Cow Island, and it turns out we're on Sheep Road here, so there's two sheep up ahead. I want to be really careful not to frighten them too much, so I just wait here for a minute and just let them come through when they're ready. So I'm now alongside the river. I'm getting my first good look at it. It does look pretty aggressive. There's clearly been, a lot of waterfall further up the river that's now coming down it. It doesn't look like it's overflowing, but obviously when pitching up, that's something that you do need to be wary of, especially if there's going to be rain forecast overnight, because it could be that it does suddenly rise a lot, and then before you know it, you're waking up and your tent's full of water. So yeah, that was something to consider. All along here, really, the ground is just too wet. It was a bit like before at that other spot, where there's just no way really that you should be pitching a tent here unless you're absolutely in need of somewhere to pitch your tent immediately. But yeah, for what should be a fairly nice evening out camping, this isn't somewhere where I'll be looking to pitch up, but hopefully if we push on, we should find somewhere a bit further up the river. I'm now approaching Blackator Copse. This is like a protected ancient woodland kind of area, so there's no camping here, but my research has at the very least led me to believe that there should be some camping spots the other side of this section. So for now, it's just a case of picking my way through it, which is no easy feat really when I've got a big backpack on full of camping gear. And a lot of the path through here, I mean, there wasn't a path, it was just you picking your way through the rocks, hopping from rock to rock. So it was slower progress, but it was still a nice part of the walk. This is the first bit of dry grass that I've come across down by the river, so this is probably as good a spot as any for me to pitch up for the evening. It's going to get dark fairly soon, and looking ahead it looks like maybe it gets a little bit more boggy further up, so it may get worse before it gets better. So now it's just a case of looking around this area, trying to find a good spot to pitch in, essentially just trying to find the flattest spot really, because there's not too much cover or anything to shield me from the wind. But hopefully we should be okay. The tent's all set up now. It's on pretty much the flattest spot that I could find. It's not going to be perfect, but it'll do. So for now, I'm just going to take some time just to enjoy what's left of the daylight and enjoy some different views of the moors, because usually when I'm camping, it's a bit higher up, so it's certainly a different perspective down here in the valley. it's now time to cook dinner for the evening. On the menu tonight is some sausages, and I've got some baps as well, so basically sausage sandwiches, along with a couple of other things. I've also switched it up a little bit and gone for some whiskey instead of the IPA. I figured that doing this might help as well with pack weight, so yeah, I'm trying to be as efficient as possible. As you can also see, we've got the ponies that were up on the hill a little bit earlier have decided to come down and put on a bit of a show for me while I'm cooking my dinner. So as long as they don't come trampling through the camp, everything should be fine. And yeah, it's really, really nice. This is definitely one of the cooler moments that I've had while camping on Dartmoor. It's a little bit later in the evening now. The ponies have just about moved on, so I'm just having a little look around the tent, just a little once over, just to make sure everything's all tight and pegged in. And yeah, it all looks good. It is scheduled to be fairly windy this evening, so yeah, it's always good to make sure that your tent is secured to the ground. So yeah, I'm gonna head off now, get a good night's sleep, and we'll be up early in the morning tomorrow. I've still got some sausages left from dinner. That's the good thing about this time of year as well, is that you don't have to worry too much about that sort of thing when it comes to meat. It will keep overnight because it's a little bit cooler outside. So fingers crossed I don't get food poisoning and have a nice breakfast after a good night's sleep. And just like that, it's now morning. Yeah, I had a reasonable night's sleep. Did wake up about 1 a.m. I was definitely too hot. I went overkill a little bit when it came to trying to stay warm. So I just woke up for a bit, opened the tent door, chilled out, cooled down, and then went back to sleep. It wasn't the best night's sleep though. Obviously the tent was pitched on a bit of an incline, so it was one of those where you wake up every now and again and you slid halfway down the tent. But yeah, it wasn't too bad, and certainly no issues of being too cold either. The weather's not the greatest, but it's early in the morning on Dartmoor, so that's to be expected. So the plan now is just to head straight up the valley. We're going to head up towards Forsland Ledge, and then from there, or shortly before I get to there, I'm going to head off to the left towards Black Tor, just because that's one that I've not been to, so it'll be nice to tick that one off the list on the way back. Then it'll be a case of heading back down towards the car. just approaching Black Tor now. It's been a little bit boggy on the way over here, but I wasn't necessarily following a path, so that's to be expected, and there's certainly nothing wrong with a bit of Sunday morning bog hopping on Dartmoor. So looking ahead at Black Tor, there is actually 2 rock formations, and I'm not too sure which one's Black Tor or if they're both Black Tor. So I'm going to head over, I'm going to get to both of them just so I can say that I haven't missed it. And then, yeah, we're just going to head back down the hill towards the reservoir and back to the car. So I'm almost back at the car now. Overall, this was a really, really enjoyable camp. It's certainly a lot better, I find, when I have a hike before and afterwards. It just makes you feel like you've earned it a little bit more, maybe, especially if you're going to sit around drinking whiskey and eating sausages. On that note, dinner was really nice. The ponies made it so memorable, just having them running across. It's one of those things where you're just out in the middle of nowhere, there's no one else around, and you just think, no one else is experiencing this right now. I mean, I'm sure people are somewhere in the world, but certainly not in that particular spot. So yeah, overall, this was really, really enjoyable, and I can't wait to get back out again on the next one. And it's also good to know that the gear that I've got does hold up pretty well in colder temperatures. So yeah, thank you so much everyone for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, all that sort of thing. Obviously, if you're going out and about, make sure you leave no trace, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.